What's happening, friends? Welcome to episode 413 of Podcast Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. Plenty to cover this week, as always, in the world of Xbox. Some major new releases, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, plus we sent one of our intrepid reporters up north to Seattle to see Microsoft Flight Simulator, and before you go roll your eyes in your head, you're going to want to hear this. There's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about there. Speaking of interesting, there's a very strange feud going on between voice actor Troy Baker and Gearbox Software. We'll cover that, all that and more coming up on Podcast Unlocked.
Podcast Unlocked.
All right, my friends, I'm Ryan McCaffrey. To my left, the great Mark Medina.
Yeah, bam. That's the thing I say. The thing I say on podcast.
Yeah,
bam.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
bam.
Yeah, bam.
There you go.
Yeah, bam.
Miranda
Chomp,
Sanchez, do you have any catchphrases you want to
I just say
borrow?
hello in a very
hi.
peppy voice.
We'll take
Hello.
it. Yeah, that's all. That's
That's all
you
you
need.
get.
It's all good. Welcome to Podcast Unlocked for October 1st. This is officially it. It was already officially it, but now, I mean, October, specifically this year, I think the bulk of the major releases are in October. There's some big stuff in November.
Mm-hmm.
There was some big stuff in September, but I think there's just more of it in October.
Yeah, it's like towards the end of the month. We have like a few weeks of just, all right, get your stuff together, kind of look at all these games that are ongoing, cover their stuff, and then get ready for the new launches later.
Yeah. Call of Duty will be happening this month.
Outer Worlds is like
The Outer Worlds.
Is it the same day?
I
can't remember.
think it might be, if I remember right. Yeah, it's towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
Maybe?
That's a big one. There's Luigi's Mansion 3 on Switch.
On Halloween.
With the
Yeah.
NBC.
That's spooky.
I'm looking forward to that. I love the original. I
Me
never played the
too.
second one,
Me too. Same.
which was a handheld game. But yeah, the original was near and dear to me.
Yeah, the game's awesome.
But yeah, gosh, there is a lot. There's a lot of big stuff happening in the month of October. So let's start a quick correction, sort of semi-correction from last week. You know, we went on a very large rant about Activision and Spec Ops being totally exclusive to PS4 for about a year. We were actually talking about the survival mode, but we just kept saying Spec Ops. So it's not the entire thing. It is a mode within there. But the thing is, for me, and speaking for myself, it doesn't change anything about what I said last
No,
week.
it's still-
I still think it's totally gross.
Year-long exclusives are nuts, especially in annualized franchises. By the time anybody else is able to use it, Black Ops 5 is going to be out, or whatever.
Or it'll be
called.
literally days away at that point, by October 1st of 2020.
Well, thanks for saying that this mode doesn't matter to anybody else except just PS4.
So there it is. But if you want to hear our rant about that, tune into last week's episode, 412. Let's move from rants to raves, though. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Woo!
What do you think, Destin? I love it, Ryan.
Oh,
Bam, it's awesome.
bam!
Destin is streaming. That's why he's not on the show. Rip to Destin.
Yeah,
He's off
surprise.
streaming the heck out of it, playing it. I think he's also reviewing it for us as well, as he has,
I would
imagine.
Yeah.
But
Someone asked, they're like, how long is Destin streaming for? I was like,
Probably
rest of his life?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
until he keels over and can't
I
do
could
it
see
anymore.
him just ordering pizza and just having people ferry food into him constantly, just never leaving.
Slide pizzas under the studio door.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, pancakes, because they also fit under the door. Right?
He can only eat flat foods. Got it.
That's it.
Sounds good.
Tortilla.
Yeah.
With
A quesadilla?
quesadilla for
he
lunch.
can't have a burrito, but he can have a quesadilla.
Exactly.
Overcome,
We can keep
adapt.
going, yeah. How long can we
What
keep
else?
this up? So
Some good toast.
What's your favorite flat food? We need to make that.
But no, I mean, I will say too, and Destin mentioned this last week, he did get to go up to Bungie a couple weeks ago, which is why he wasn't on the last time he wasn't on, and do a bunch of interviews, a bunch of exclusive stuff in the lead up here to Shadowkeep, and who better to send to Bungie for us than Destin. There is an interesting news breakout that he got out of that in an interview with studio head Pete Parsons about how Bungie has plans for something new by 2025, and they have sort of their whole studio roadmap laid out. So I'd very much encourage everybody to go check that out if you are the slightest bit interested in what's going on with Bungie.
I brought this up right now because the game's on Steam now.
Yes.
And it's free to play until you get to, I think it's Forsaken.
Oh, nice.
And so it's like they're at like 200K concurrent on Steam right now.
That's
pretty astronomical.
Just Steam, not including Xbox, not including PS4.
And not including if you're still just on Battle.net.
Yeah, everyone I was talking to this morning said they had a wait time to get into Destiny.
Wow.
Which is
that's
very
wowish.
It's like like a free game now. Like and it's on a platform it's never been on.
I'm super excited to get back into it with like having cross saves and everything. So I stopped after the first raid and just before the first big expansion. Like I played like a tiny bit of it, but then just had to fall off.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready to get back into it. There's so much there.
Yeah, I thought we could spend a minute talking about this, even though Destin's not here. But let's take that 2025 thing of whatever's next for Bungie after Destiny. There's no Destiny 3 on the immediate horizon that we could see. Now, for all we know, they could just announce it next spring as a next-gen game and be like, oh, Destiny 3 is coming in the fall or in 2021. But there will probably be something new, and I'm curious what you guys think. Like, where might Bungie go? It's such an interesting thing to consider because
they're going to Stadia next month.
I can't imagine them not doing another sci-fi shooter. So I think
it's certainly been their bread and butter, and even predating Halo back to Marathon.
Yeah, I mean it's just they're just so good at it. Like if they didn't do a shooter, I'd be so curious to see how that would play out.
They just come out with a Civil War first-person shooter with like you have to manually reload the muskets, and
I'm sure it'd be great.
But
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean. So Jason Jones, for those of you, if you don't follow Bungie closely, Jason Jones is the co-founder of Bungie. He's been there the whole time. He's still there. He almost never gives interviews, period. He's just a very reclusive guy, and I don't say that with any negative connotation whatsoever. He just doesn't like doing interviews. He doesn't like being in the public eye. I got to interview him in 2013 or 2014, whatever the year.
Ew.
It would have been 2014 because that was the year Destiny was coming out, Destiny 1. And that was the first interview he had done because I went back and checked, 11 years.
Oh my gosh.
The first major interview he'd done in 11 years. And I don't believe he's done one since.
Nice.
He did appear, he was on stage at Sony once or twice in that initial Destiny launch, but he didn't speak. He didn't, give any remarks or presentation. Yeah, he's just a guy. But anyway, the point is, he's also sort of their creative mastermind. Halo was his brainchild. I mean, not that the rest of the team wasn't involved, but it was sort of led by him. And if you remember, if you're a big time Bungie or Halo historian, you may remember that during Halo 3, if I'm remembering correctly, Jason kind of went off that project, and the rest of the team was working on Halo 3, and he disappeared to go dream up Bungie's next big thing. At the time, there was a Project Phoenix, which I talked about in my interview with him. There was a sort of Minecraft type game that they were prototyping for a little while. That was called, it starts with a G. It's right. It's in that article, and it's in my head somewhere. Anyway, but eventually landing on Destiny, and here we are all these years later, and it's real. So, I would imagine that this is probably the point in time where Jason Jones, with Destiny being in Luke Smith's capable hands and the rest of the studio's hands, he's probably considering where he wants to take.
Time to do the same thing, kind of go off and
stretch their legs and keep improving, or just going on a whole different direction. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but it's hard to even. Obviously, we're not in his head. We don't know what he might be thinking about. But the one thing that occurs to me is that, number one, Bungie is a big studio these days. They're one of the larger sort of single entity studios because, like Rockstar
encompass, like all of Rockstar Studios encompass thousands of people, and Ubisoft has, but just Bungie is something like 400 or 500 people last I knew, which is enormous. And the thing is that entire studio is currently staffed and built to making a Destiny game, a persistent online looter shooter, if we want to go with the term. So, I mean, I wonder if Jason Jones would feel like he kind of has to stay on a similar path because that's what the team is and the talent and everything is geared toward, or if he would get up in front of that team and say, well, we're going off in this completely different direction now, and you're all invited. I don't know. I don't know how, because at that point you're responsible for the well-being, the welfare of 400 or 500 people. So I imagine that they don't, even if you have a great creative idea for something, they're big enough now where they have to take the business needs of the studio as a whole and the people within the studio as a major consideration of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of depends on how they want to keep up with Destiny 2. So based on how they've already launched New Light and everything, it feels like they're really buckling down to have Destiny 2 go on for a long time, a very long time. So I'm imagining that this deal will be split a little bit, divided up. Okay, you guys are going to be on Destiny 2 for a long time. Keep making the content for that and make this a great experience. Maintain what we've already established, while other teams get to go start developing whatever's next for them and just do both things. Makes
a ton of sense.
I don't know. I was talking about this with my friends recently. It's like Dota 2's, it's a weird tangent almost, but Dota 2's been such like a massive piece of my life that I just don't see it going away. And like that's a little bit different because it's not necessarily a story-based thing. But then you look at something like Final Fantasy 14 that's been going on forever, and like all these other things. It's like an MMO, but Destiny has like so much of that built in of just this living game, right?
Absolutely.
And like I think because they are doing their own thing now, they can just aspire to being a game that just lives on for a very, very long time and like keeps offering a great quality content for their players. So I think it would make most sense to me that they keep up with Destiny 2. Like that's a big priority for the studio. And then, do something on the side to stretch their legs again and get something fun in.
So if anything, Bungie could end up getting bigger because they continue to support Destiny and then make a whole big second new thing too.
The whole New Light move definitely makes me feel like it's like this is kind of here to stay. Like kind of like World of Warcraft kind of did the same thing where eventually there were so many expansions that now it's like if you want to play the like last two, you have to pay for them, but I think the game's like $5 and you get the game's free up until level 20, and I think it's like $5 and you get like everything
right
up until the last two expansions, and it definitely feels more like a platform now.
Yeah, it's great points all around.
Yeah, and it's just like kind of interesting to see how more and more games are going in that direction, and also very challenging for people like us who like to play everything. And it's like, I want to keep playing that, but I don't really have time because I'm playing these 3 other games. Also, these other games are narrative experiences and just, oh man.
You're so right.
So great.
It's harder than ever to try and keep up because I mean these games now by design their goal is to keep you playing that game and not play any other games. Stay in our game, keep spending money in our game. Don't play anyone else's game.
I definitely like got a little caught up in the Shadowkeep hype, like especially this morning. Like I saw people were like, 1 more hour till the servers go live, and I was like, oh man, I am kind of
little FOMO,
feeling a little caught up in this. And then it's just like I look at like the landscape of this next like month or two, and I'm still playing Borderlands, and I'm like, I just
the trick is you just don't sleep.
Oh,
that's what I do. That? I may be getting sick, but it's fine. I still don't need sleep.
Because it's like I still haven't finished Gears. I went and I did the same thing with Link's Awakening, as everybody was posting about it, and I was like, forget it. And I just went and bought it, and I got to the second dungeon on my first and I literally haven't played it since.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of both Control and Link's Awakening.
Control, I'm like an hour into.
And I've got I'm very much looking forward to the Call of Duty campaign specifically. later this month, and Luigi's Mansion 3, and probably and Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds is
like
I'm very excited for Outer Worlds.
Like again, we're so lucky to get to make content about this stuff for a living. But even when you're doing that during the day as part of your job, there's still not enough time.
There's still
That's how incredible the video game landscape is in 2019. It's just
so many
wild.
games.
There's some other games that are still going on and doing some very cool things, like Apex Legends. Season 3 just came up, which I'm super excited for because I had to miss most of Season 2 because I was traveling so much. So that's another part of the juggle, right? It's like the hard thing of, okay, well, I got to do Dota 2 because that's a permanent fixture in my life. All right, I'm going to do Destiny because I really want to get back into that. All right, I'm going to get back into Apex because I want to play with my dad and because I love it. And then it's like getting play Control and so many things.
And, you know, it's funny. It's how quickly time flies. 6 months ago, Apex Legends was the biggest game in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone, maybe not by actual literal player numbers, but it was the thing. It was the it game.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it seems like they've had a couple little speed bumps in the road.
Yeah, they're figuring out monetization.
Various, decisions and things. But it's still, that's a massive game that lives on. It's getting new content.
They're doing so much cool stuff, and their new character is great. He's so cool.
Crypto?
Yeah, Crypto's cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
And
there's like a whole new map too, right?
Yeah. It's like a fire and ice map. It's really cool.
Rip Titanfall now that Apex continues to.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? We'll get back someday.
There's a Titanfall gun in Apex now. I forget what it's called.
They all are.
Oh, whatever. They added a new one. It's some laser gun.
Yeah.
People were making some big deal about like, oh, it's a
whatever it's called. No,
I can't remember.
I don't remember anymore either. It's been a while. Rip Apex. Rip Titanfall.
I played Titanfall 2 when it first came out and I haven't played it since.
You guys, I could talk about Titanfall 2 all day. I love it so much.
It is so great. It's probably still the best. I'm trying to think if I've played a better first-person shooter campaign since then. There have been some good ones. I mean, like Gears is a third person. Gears 5 third person.
That's third. That's
talking
different.
first-person shooter campaign. I don't know. I don't know if I have.
The best thing about Titanfall 2 is that you're kind of like the game lets you play at your own pace. Like you're not with like every Call of Duty game is like you're with other people, and in this game you're just Matt Mercer just going through by yourself.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It is a very I almost hate to say this because it's like it just makes me sound and feel old, but it is kind of a classic first person shooter campaign.
It feels kind of Half-Life-y where it's like things are happening but you're by yourself.
Right, and meaning classic, meaning like, they're not really making them like this anymore, for better or for worse. But yeah, Titanfall 2, y'all. If you slept on it, pick it up. It's super good.
Maybe check out Apex as well if you haven't.
Yeah.
It's so good. Feels so great. I don't know. Respawn just has a way with their movement and their guns.
You know, I
love it.
I didn't talk about this last week because it's not Xbox, but just in the interest of while we're on the subject of Respawn, and Xbox fans are probably all Respawn fans because they've made 3 excellent Xbox One games so far. They do have another project that's sadly not coming to Xbox, but I got to go see it and I was very impressed. They're bringing back Medal of Honor as a VR game.
Yeah,
it's for Oculus, and it was very impressive. It's one of the more impressive VR games I've seen in the sense of it feels like a fully featured complete game rather than just like a gimmick where you have where you're in the world and have a gun in your hand. Like there's a lot of depth and layers to it. So if you're curious to learn more, I wrote a big preview. It's called Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. So that is the other thing that Respawn is currently hard at work at. The game's out in 2020. Okay, still not done with all the new stuff. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Brandon Tyrell not here because he's doing a review for that. Servers are live, so he's out there just anchored down at home, just playing that one. Mark, I mean, we don't have to repeat ourselves. You and I gave our thoughts after the preview event of, I guess that would have been about a month or so ago now. We definitely liked some stuff, but there's some stuff we certainly
overall pretty lukewarm on it.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to sum it up.
I think people are enjoying it. I don't know. Duggan played it a little bit late yesterday. I don't know. the review will be out soon, hopefully.
Review and
it was one of those deals where we couldn't play it till everyone can play it. So,
yeah, servers had to fire up.
Yep. So hopefully we'll get some impressions up soon. But yeah, I don't know, because Brandon hadn't played it yet last time.
Yeah, he had not played it, but James streamed it on IGN. He just played it live on IGN.
Streamed it yesterday.
Yeah, I talked to him. I think it's fair he's not here to speak for himself, but I think it's fair to say when I talked to him, he seemed kind of lukewarm on it as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm genuinely curious to see the community at large's reaction to Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and then from there, what the kind of roadmap for that game looks like. If the Ubisoft team, how they address criticism and or double down on the good stuff, and sort of how that game will continue
I remember
to evolve.
feeling like I wasn't a huge fan of the fact that there's like gear scores and stuff. It kind of feels Division-y. And again, not to speak for Duggan, but he said the same thing. He's like, I don't understand why there's gear scores on everything. Like he's like, I already played this year.
Right.
The Division 2. And so it's like, he kind of feels like he's just playing a more like offline version, even though it pushes to be online only. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
But I think, it's good to bring up, because the thing to keep in mind, and I know we've said this before, but Wildlands was like the second or third best-selling game of 2017. It was a massive success, even if kind of it just wasn't, it didn't really have a long shelf life in our little bubble, meaning like sort of the IGN immediate, like us and what we're playing.
But it's the same thing with Siege. It's like these Ubisoft games come out, and then we all, mainstream moves on, and then it's like they get these like dedicated fan bases that just keep these games alive.
Siege has grown and grown. I feel like I saw an announcement. I think they hit like 30 million unique players recently.
And For Honor's the same thing. Like a ton of people still playing For Honor.
That's true. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I'd be curious what you guys out there think of Breakpoint if you give it a try this week. It's coming out at a crowded time, but it's a big name. Like I'm not saying it's not worthy of being a big Q4 release, but yeah, the early returns on it seemed, from maybe not within our bubble, I'll just caveat it that way, seemed to be lukewarm. So see what you guys
I think it's coming out at a pretty good time, only because it's like October's busy, but it seems more
backloaded towards the end of the month.
More towards the end of the month. Like this, I'm trying to think of like anything huge coming out in the next week or two. I don't. Concrete Genie, that's not huge. It's just first party.
To take a look, but. And then finally, before we get to the kind of minimal news this week, because it's just like everything's just coming out. So it's that time of year where we're
news is slow because now the games are
here. There's a lot going on, but not necessarily with news.
Exactly. Yeah. But Microsoft Flight Simulator, give me a minute. Hold on. Because I was thinking probably what a lot of you listening and watching are thinking, like, okay, that's neat that they're bringing that back, but I don't care. However, we sent the intrepid Seth Macy, the one and only employee of IGN Maine, out to
hold down the fort.
Yeah,
IGN
holding
Maine
down
office.
the fort. He's the president, CEO, HR, the intern. He's
he's a janitor,
custodial. All of it.
He's all.
Now Seth's great. And he went out. He was interested in going. So I said, "Great, head out to Seattle to the preview event for us. Would love to have you go." And he came back. Not only did he come back extraordinarily impressed by what he saw, but the coverage I was seeing from other outlets that attended the event, also everybody seemed very pleasantly surprised at just how phenomenal this looked. And yes, it is a simulation. It's right there in the title, simulator. It's not a game with a score and points and levels and competition. It is a simulator. But it is evidently so technically impressive and so technologically impressive. Listen, so I actually printed off Seth's preview, and I wanted to share a couple of bits with you. So he says, "I don't think I've ever been as impressed by any technology as much as I was by Microsoft's upcoming flight simulator. It's astonishing in its commitment to realism, and the implementation is clever, extraordinarily technical, and completely blew me away." Now, I'm the previews editor here, and it is my job. Normally I would strike something like that from the record, because I would say, don't say that. We don't know what the final game's going to be. They might just be showing us the absolute best piece, and the final game could end up so flawed that quote comes back and bites us in the ass later. But no, when you read the rest of it, it's incredible. So let me just tell you. So it's the big thing is the fact it combines Bing satellite imagery to procedurally and accurately generate any terrain you want to fly over. So trees and buildings are modeled on the fly in 3D and sit exactly where they do in real life. We were invited to try and find our houses and fly over them, which of course I did. Since the buildings are generated, it didn't look like my house, but it was exactly where my house is in real life. All my neighbors' houses were where they are in the real world, with roads and side streets busy with procedurally generated traffic. And then he says, I wanted to see how deep the data really went. The developer Asobo told us during the presentation you could fly from or to over 40,000 real-world airports.
Wow.
So
I didn't even know there was that many airports.
There's an insane level of technical and sort of procedural and satellite map detail that this game is coming to Xbox One. It will be. Now, they were absolutely on PC for this event with GTX cards, so with ray tracing. So the video you watch on IGN is absolutely PC footage, make no bones about it. It remains to be seen how the Xbox One version, even on the X, will look, because there is no ray tracing on this console. There will be on Scarlet. And I would, of course, Flight Simulator's I'm sure there will be a ray tracing update for Flight Simulator for Scarlet. That's all but assured. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to linger on this too long, but I don't know if you guys also had a chance to read Seth's coverage, but yeah, it was not just him, but again, reading Seth was like, wow, okay, I guess I should be taking a closer look at this. And then seeing all the other coverage saying the same thing, it's like Microsoft might have quite a impressive project on their hands here.
I saw the footage. My desk mate was looking at it, and Seth got to actually go on an actual plane as well.
Yeah, to compare.
Yeah, and he was showing me the side-by-side, and he's like, man, the game looks better than real life.
Don't say that. That's not true.
It's always a funny comment.
But it is hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, specifically we were looking at the actual the view of all the controls.
Yeah, the cockpit view.
And it was really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
How accurate it all.
Yeah, there's all sorts of planes in it, from little single engine Cessna things up to, I think, passenger jetliners and stuff. There's just a vast assortment. And it mentions, I guess they said, in some cases the cockpits were 3D scanned, and in other cases the manufacturers of the planes sent the developers the AutoCAD files for the cockpit so that each one could be built to exact specs in the game, which is super neat. I mean, that's the pure definition of simulation.
Very intense on that simulation part.
Yes.
All those gauges are going to do something.
Yep. And it's going to be, again, it's Microsoft games, so if you have Game Pass for PC, it'll just be there when the game comes out, presumably sometime next year. But there you go, Microsoft Flight Simulator. I never thought we would spend 5 minutes on this show talking about that, but we did.
It's a thing.
Did it. All right, my friends. Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Phew.
We know him.
This is an interesting story.
Not personally, but we know his work, certainly.
We bonded over living in Texas.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
Yeah, he's got quite a body of voice acting work, particularly in the video game industry. He's been in so many big games.
Yep.
From Uncharted to Tales from the Borderlands to BioShock Infinite to on and on and on. Well, Miranda, do you want to tell us about this? Because this is just weird.
Yeah, so Troy Baker has been having some interesting comments with Gearbox, because stuff with Gearbox just does not seem to end. So speaking to VG247.com at a fan event for Troy Baker and Nolan North's Retro Replay, Troy Baker discussed how he was on board to return for Borderlands 3, but Gearbox wouldn't, quote, go about doing it the way that we needed it to be done. Quote again, so they came to me and they were like, do you want to do this? Baker explained, which I said, absolutely. And then they made it impossible for me to do the role. It had nothing to do with money. It had,
nothing to do with money.
Yeah, they simply just wouldn't go about the way that it needed to be done. And so he specifically never said no.
Right.
And so for that clarification, they're like, was it like schedule conflicts? Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Like, if it's not about money, then what's the problem? And then he ended up going out saying that they wouldn't go union. Quote,
right, work with union voice actors.
Yeah.
Yes, which is a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, them not abiding to that's like a pretty big.
But then it was pointed out, like Ashley Birch, there are union people that are in the game,
right?
Yeah.
But I was
so
say,
that's
like,
sort of the strange part of this.
Have other people, so like, what's your actual beef with Troy Baker here? Because I don't understand it. Do we have the quote?
Yeah, I got it. So I got to read you.
Could you do the Gearbox response?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you've got. And remember, this isn't new. Like, we heard about this when Borderlands 3 was finally officially announced earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone came to Troy Baker right away and was like, hey, are you going to be coming back? And he'd said, oh, I wanted to, but it wasn't going to work out. So we've sort of heard this before, but it just keeps coming back around, as you alluded to, Miranda. And so Gearbox chose to respond to this. And here, just stick with me till the end of this statement. Gearbox says, Troy is an exceptional talent, and we were disappointed that he declined to partner on Borderlands 3 after being offered the part. We wish him the best and hope he knows the offer to collaborate with him still stands. Gearbox is a Texas company and is bound by Texas law, which means that a person cannot be denied employment because of membership or non-membership in a labor union or other labor organization. As a talent-owned and talent-led organization, Gearbox enthusiastically works to ensure our pay and working conditions meet or exceed union standards. We also believe strongly in hiring local voice actors whenever we can, which is why we're thrilled Troy's career really took off after working with us.
That's also funny, too, because they say that he declined to join them. And then, of course, in his comment, he's saying, I never said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, there was a breakdown here.
So I'm not completely taking Troy's side in that. There does seem to be some
there's something
discrepancy
we don't know.
Here,
you can't really take a firm side here because obviously something happened and we're just like, well, I don't know what that is.
But like Gearbox, they're a big company. They're a publisher, not just a developer. You got to take the high road here, people.
It's getting spicy.
What is the salt here? Like we're sort of just that last little stinger on the way out, like taking credit for Troy's career. Come on.
Like I know people love Tales from the Borderlands. I know they do. But to credit that,
well, he was in Brothers in Arms long ago as well. So I think that might be what they're more alluding to, rather than because I mean, the initial subject was him returning as Reese. From in Borderlands 3, who was of course one of the two leads in Tales from the Borderlands. But yeah, I think this is going back farther here. This is where Gearbox is digging back. I feel like
deeper. they're weirdly giving themselves a lot of credit for where his talent has gotten him.
Yeah,
he's been in a lot of video games,
quite a lot. It's just like I can't even really? I mean, it makes for fun internet drama, but let me take a more practical look at this. Troy Baker, from what I know, what I've observed, seems to be part of what really looks like a pretty tight-knit voice acting community. I had Sissy Jones on Unfiltered, and what's the Kickstarter thing that a bunch of the voice act, the D&D animated
Critical Role.
Thank you.
Yeah, animated.
It's a bunch of video game voice actors that are all friends, and they're doing this animated show, and it took off on Kickstarter. Everybody, all their respective fans were stoked about the project, and so what I'm driving at is not that there is a chance, like Gearbox risks alienating some of at least that sort of top tier video game voice acting talent that's friends with and respects Troy, where the next time a game comes around from Gearbox, Gearbox reaches out to some of these other big name voice actors, talented people, they might just say, nah.
Yeah.
Gearbox might be they need to kind of think about the future on this.
Especially since this isn't the first controversy they've had with voice acting in their game.
Or using talent or any sort of creditable.
Because there's all the claptraps.
Claptrap, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't get it. It's a very bizarre feud. It's a strange feud. And
I'm so tired of hearing about Gearbox. This isn't even the most recent controversy.
Well, you're
the Duke Nukem one.
Thing, right?
The Duke Nukem music one is the most recent one.
But Phil, everybody, I actually didn't even get the whole story. I heard sort of overheard it in the office.
I don't know,
I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Mark.
I don't know, super specifics, but it's basically the guy who did the music for Duke Nukem 3D owns the rights to that music. He is the owner. So then when they
Gearbox owns the rights to the IP now.
To the IP.
We know that.
So then when they made Duke Nukem 3D World Tour, which came out in 2016, he advised them hey, just so you know, if you go to use my music, you have to pay me those royalties.
Sure.
Which was I think it was $1 a unit or something like that.
Okay.
Something pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And he reached out to Randy specifically, and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And Randy replied with, "Don't worry, we'll make sure we take care of you."
Okay.
And it's been 2-3 years now, nothing's ever happened, so we got a lawyer involved.
Yeah.
Because he's just what the heck? This is my music. You're not allowed to. And I guess Valve's involved with it too because they're the ones distributing the game.
Oh wow.
And so it's just a whole thing that all happened yesterday.
Boy, it's
for as fun as Borderlands 3 is, man, I'm sick of it.
You're not the. I've seen that sentiment expressed a lot over the last couple days in the discussion around this Troy Baker story, where it's that thing where I know again, even just in the gaming community is still the hardcore IGN reading, Reddit reading, Twitter using gaming community is still the sort of the enthusiastic core. The people that buy, there are millions of people that buy Borderlands 3 that don't ever come to IGN. They'll never hear this. They don't go on Twitter, and they probably will never know about that.
They don't even realize that Claptrap's a different actor from Borderlands 2.
But you got to wonder, when enough of these things start to pile up, at what point can it even have a detrimental effect on Gearbox's business or not? Because
what's tough is their CEO seems to be it kind of revolves around him, a lot of these controversies, but it's a privately held company. So
that's true. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do it. It's his company.
Yeah, he can, absolutely.
I don't know. It's tough. It's really hard because Borderlands, hopefully the next time they put out a game, which if they make Borderlands 4, that'll probably be 8 years from now, and hopefully all of this will die down.
Yeah.
I hope they just value their creative talent and do good things. Thanks.
Yeah.
With all of these things.
Yeah, Miranda's back.
Sorry, I had to put my nose in. It was gross.
Could this piling up of for lack of a better term, controversy,
absolutely,
eventually hurt Gearbox's business when we recognize that we're just kind of the enthusiastic core. There are millions of Borderlands 3 customers.
It didn't for Borderlands 3 because the game sold like nuts.
Right, so. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't even know about this too. So I think it's just more about the people who were involved in making these games with them. It's gonna.
Yeah, and that's kind of I'm with you because that's where I feel like it's almost the same thing as with the Troy Baker situation on a micro level. On a macro level, you maybe get to the point where developers have got to work and they've got to take care of their families, and if a job at Gearbox is the best opportunity, I'm sure they're going to take it. But you have to wonder if enough of this stuff piles up, will developer talent start going, let's see, I've got job offer A from this studio, job offer B from Gearbox. I'm not going to take job offer B.
Well, and I also agree with your sentiment of hey, we want to start casting our next game, and people are y'all seem to have beef with every single voice act, every talent you hire. No, we're good. Just want to mention I rolled credits on Borderlands 3 the other day. Andrew Goldfarb's name is there.
That's true. He was there for a part of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my wife goes, why is Goldfarb's name on there? Because he started IGN the second time.
Right.
I don't even know if it was like a year before me. And so Borderlands 3, and I was like, well, you have to assume Borderlands 3's development started long
in some form, yeah.
In some form. Oh, well, he's not, and it's weird. He's not listed as a part. They do this thing where they just do everybody alphabetical.
Okay.
Like there's no like game director. Like even Randy Pitchford's name is just in the R's. And then it's like special thanks. And then you see Goldfarb's name in there.
That's cool. You got to feel good, right?
It was cool to see. I was like, hey, I met that man once and then worked with him for 3 years.
Oh, Goldfarb, we miss you, buddy. Hope Seattle's treating you well.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, just real quick, quick note. Civilization 6, one of the most tremendous strategy games on the market, is coming to Xbox One, and it's going to be a fall game release. It's just coming right out November 22nd. Add that to the November pile. If you're a strategy game fan, you don't currently have a lot of options on Xbox One, which is unfortunate. There was a wave of strategy games that came to Xbox in the 360 era. We saw this wave of them that like Halo Wars and Supreme Commander and Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, one of the Command and Conquers. And I played a bunch of them, and most of them were pretty good. Some of them didn't technically run that well.
I actually recently played Halo Wars again.
One or two?
Both of them.
Both of them. Nice.
When I was out for a month, and I just played Xbox Game Pass, and I was like, I'm gonna play Halo Wars again. And I did, and those games are great.
They're really great. Yeah. I hope there's a third one at some point. We'll see. But Civ 6 on its way. So if you like strategy games, you're getting a great one available to you on Xbox on November 22nd.
Same day as Doom Eternal.
So I'll be playing Doom Eternal that day myself.
Have some options.
Yeah. Well, apple, orange, whichever fruit you prefer. Loot box time. Let's talk about a question from Brenton. Been sitting on this one for a few weeks, so Brenton hopefully will hear this. With all the talk around yet another Marvel video game, that would be Marvel's Avengers, being developed just down the way here in Redwood Shores at Crystal Dynamics. Brenton says, I got to wondering what you guys might want for the next superhero game. What kind of game and who from? And Brenton says, I personally would love it if Remedy, makers of Control, made a third-person action game starring Doctor Strange. Strong call, Brenton. Or if we got an open world or open ocean game set in the world of Aquaman by either Ubisoft or Insomniac. I like Brenton's thinking here. So what do you guys think? Superhero, who? What do you want and who should do it? Miranda, you're clapping your hands.
Yes, because I'm gonna say this forever. But Batman Beyond. I know we got Batman games, and we don't necessarily need more of them. But Batman Beyond is so different.
It's so good.
The tonally is so different, and it's great. I'm not really picky who would make it, just because I want anything Batman Beyond, guys. Anything. I love it so much. It's my favorite Batman thing.
Really, that is your favorite?
That is my favorite Batman.
That's so great. I love hearing that.
Yeah, Batman's been my favorite superhero since I was a super small kid. I used to have my little Batman sweatpants that were made for boys, but it's these are for me, and I love them. And I'd really actually like to see maybe Arcane Studios work on it.
Interesting.
I think they have
yes.
a really interesting set with all their abilities and such a focus on that stealth aspect, and I think that's something that's great for Batman. So
they've done open worldy kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and the whole thing with Batman Beyond too is that you have this super high tech suit, right? It's there's so much they could play with there. I'd just like to see that.
That would be great.
Because it's when you think of Dishonored, you think of gadgets and stuff like that.
Yeah, you think of all the abilities and the way you could kind of approach a mission and do different things and go a super lethal or very sneaky. And I think there's a lot of cool things you could do there.
Let me pose you this question then: first person or third person?
I think I'd want first person.
See, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't think
we've the only first person Batman game we've ever had was Arkham VR.
Yeah.
For PlayStation.
Oh, right.
Which was really fun, by the way. It was technically, it was clear that it was developed within the limitations of what the PlayStation camera and the wands could do, but like, oh man, where you go down into the Batcave, you ride the elevator down into the Batcave, and then put the suit on, and then look in the mirror. It's like, oh, it's so
you
cool.
like pick up the mask and put it. Yeah,
it's really good. That's cool. I would now, of course, sadly, legally, it'll probably never happen because ZeniMax owns Arcane. WB owns the Batman IP, but we're just dreaming here.
Yeah, this is my dream.
We're just dreaming. Mark?
It's not practical.
So I said a Dredd game.
Okay.
The new, Judge Dredd.
I am the law.
He is the law. The new movie, old movie now. Super violent and super like gritty. And so I said either buy Machine Games or id.
Oh.
Because it's like Machine Games.
Yes.
Like what they've done with Wolfenstein, they could totally make that into like a Judge Dredd game. And I want all the cool slow motion mechanics and stuff that were in the movie. Like the slow, like have some, like in like the Sniper Elite games where it's like they have those like
the slow down.
the slow down. So it's like when you're going to kill the last guy and it's like it slows down and you just see them.
Get that X-ray.
I think it'd be super cool.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. Machine Games could do that upright. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick. I know it's a boring answer, but give me Rocksteady. Taking a crack at Superman. I want somebody has got to figure it out and make it good. I think my ideal Superman game would have some Clark Kent stuff in it, maybe some like secret identity, like having to use my powers in sneaky ways, going into the phone booth to change. Somebody has to crack the Superman code in the same way that Rocksteady themselves cracked the Batman code after so many years.
What do you like about Superman?
I mean, just that
he's unstoppable.
It's a power fantasy. It's the ultimate power fantasy.
He can do anything.
Like you're virtually unstoppable. So and that's of course been part of the challenge with Superman games over the years is having meaningful stakes and making you're just this invulnerable dude flying around.
The only way to make it work is everybody has kryptonite weapons, and then you're not Superman at that point.
Exactly.
You're just
kryptonite or something with mind control abilities.
Yeah, that
would
too.
be no fun because
red kryptonite. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. You never know. But hopefully, Marvel's Avengers will be good. We got that's in about. The game's only about 6 months away now as Miranda readies a sneeze. She's trying to stifle it.
And it went down. Sorry for the bad.
She's got it. She's got it, everybody.
Saved.
Thank you, Brenton, for sending that in. If you have a loot box question, it's just, again, any video game question to just pose as a discussion point to the panel, email it to us at unlocked@ign.com. Before we go, let's do a quick Unlock Block trivia. Destin's not here. Miranda, good chance for you to pick up some points.
I know this one.
Oh, good. Okay. I like where this is going. So
give me those points.
The standings are as such. Destin 10, Miranda 6, running out of time, but you're still in the game.
If we can keep him busy with Destiny stuff for a few more weeks,
I
can come back.
I like just a cat with a ball of yarn. Like, hey, Destin.
Yeah. Hey, did you guys know that we thought about doing another Destiny stream? And Destin,
I can't
you're the star.
Guys.
You're the star.
He's like, bam, I'm out of here.
So here we go. Oh goodness, Tom. Oh, good. I did write down Tom from the UK. I thought I didn't write down the listener's name. Tom from the UK asks, which member of Halo Reach's Noble team was the sole survivor by the end of Halo Reach? Carter, a.k.a. Noble 1. Kat, she being Noble 2. June, Noble 3. Or Emil, Noble 4. We're leaving out George, who was the Spartan 2. He was my favorite because he was a Spartan 2 like Chief. He absolutely died in the game.
Super dead.
Very dead. Did not make it off of Reach. So as
Miranda, what's your guess?
I am not going to say anything. Please go ahead.
Mark, you got anything?
I
tried. Do you remember your Halo Reach?
I tried. Oh man, I love Halo Reach, but I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm gonna go with D.
Okay, you're going with Emil. Noble 4. Miranda.
It's C, Noble 3.
It is. Well done.
I love it when I actually know the answer to a thing.
Nicely done. It's 10-7 now, narrowing the gap.
Getting there.
Like to see that. I'd like to see a nice tight race. The trophy is nearly done from what I'm told. So
Nice.
yeah, it's
they're so nice.
It's getting close. Yeah, our audience is an amazing audience. They're a great group of people. If you would like to send in an Xbox trivia question to try and stump the panel here, send it to unlocked@ign.com. Gonna need the question, 4 multiple choice answers, and then please note the correct answer in your email. And we'll play again next week. But until then, it's time for us to go. You can find me on Twitter @DMC_Ryan. I just put up a preview of, what was it? Oh, Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics for Switch. Yeah, Sega came by, and that, I wouldn't say I had low expectations because that would be like mean to say, but I think I just wasn't expecting it to be as just lighthearted, self-aware, super fun as it was. There's some retro like 8-bit stuff in there. Some of the events are in 8-bit, which yeah, it was great. Super fun.
Cool.
Sounds like a Nintendo game.
Yeah, and then I've also got another preview, PC game preview hitting tomorrow. So I guess I don't have any Xbox specific stuff at the moment. How about you, Mark?
Oh man, you can find me on Twitter @DiGiorno. Let me think. I don't think
You have a lot of followers.
Yeah. Tweet a lot about pizza. No, things have been weirdly just getting ready for stuff. So yeah, I got nothing. It's just a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff. That's the end of this month's going to be crazy, y'all.
Yes, indeed. Miranda, take us home.
Yeah, so you can find me @HavocGrows, and it's Havoc with a K on Twitter and pretty much everywhere else. I'm also just working on a lot of planning and behind the scenes stuff. That's a lot more of what my job is now these days anyway. I do have some stuff from TGS still coming out, which is fine. It's nothing super high priority, or it's interesting stuff, but not something that need to be turned around immediately. So I'll have some stuff come out from there. And I don't know. Happy October, everybody.
Happy October. Yes, it is officially fall game season. All right, my friends, thanks for watching/listening, and we will see you next week.
And bam.